Steeler Nation, we have a new poll up on the community tab on the YouTube channel. There's going to be a link to it down in the comment section. And this week's topic is all about the draft, okay? And this week I am asking you guys, which position should the Pittsburgh Steelers prioritize in round one of the 2023 NFL draft? It's looking like the pick could be pretty darn high. So what position do you want the Steelers to target? Left tackle, edge rusher, cornerback, inside linebacker, or some other position? Go to the comment section, click the link that takes you to our community tab, vote on this week's poll, and then put your comments in that poll there. And if it's a good enough comment, we're going to put you on the show later this week. What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Mike Tomlin and what I think is his biggest flaw as an NFL head coach. We're also going to be talking some Alex Highsmith in this one. Should the Steelers give him an extension? And then finally, I'm going to give my three next steps for the Pittsburgh Steelers now that the playoffs are likely out of the picture and the Steelers have started the season at 3-7. But before we get into all of today's action, if you haven't subscribed yet, you're new here, you love the black and gold, you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you want some daily free content here on YouTube, consider subscribing to the channel and join our family here at Steelers Talk. We just eclipsed 19,000 subscribers. Later in the week, I'm going to be wearing a Terry Bradshaw bald cap for an entire episode. And right now, when we get to 20K, I'm going to be doing a Gatorade bath. So that's something really exciting. So if you want to join our family, help us get to 20K, click that subscribe button right now. All right, now let's get into Mike Tomlin, what I think his biggest flaw is as an NFL head coach. And this biggest flaw is I think he's become an insular head coach. Now, you might be like, insular, what the heck does that mean? That means that he's been a head coach for so long. Okay, he's been a head coach for 15 years. And usually the way that you make connections and you can really know who to hire for your staff is you're bouncing around the league. You're meeting new people. You're exposing yourself to new schemes. But with Tomlin running the show in Pittsburgh for so long, he's kind of been stuck in his ways, and he's kind of been stuck with his people, his guys. And at the end of the day, I mean, it leads to poor hirings. We've seen from Matt Canada, he's one of his guys. Terrell Austin is one of his guys. He's not really going outside because he doesn't really know anybody else in the league, because it's been 15 years since he's been in those coaching circles. And in my opinion, I think the next offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers needs to be somebody outside of Tomlin's circle. It can't be somebody that's already in. It can't be somebody that's already in the organization, in my opinion, like a Mike Sullivan or something. It needs to be someone that's coming from somewhere. I think, in my opinion, the new school West Coast offense, that third generation. Shanahan, McVay, lots of motion, lots of crossers over the middle, lots of creativity and innovation. That's where Mike Tomlin needs to look towards next. And in my opinion, I really think that that's where Tomlin needs to go. And that's his biggest weakness right now, is that the guys that he's hiring and the people that are high up in his organization, they're not great football minds. They're not innovators. They're stuck in the past. So Mike Tomlin, I still think he's a good head coach. I think he can still be successful in this league, but he has to surround himself with the right people. All right, guys, coming up, I'm going to tell you, we're going to break down whether or not the Steelers should extend Alex Highsmith and lock him up for the future. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor at Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit cards, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more, and it makes a great last-minute gift for the Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon fan in your family. The first 200 people that purchase a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot. I have a plot of land, and I am currently building Steelers Nation in Ellison, Scotland, guys. So if you want to be a part of Steelers Nation in Scotland and become a Lord or Lady today, go ahead and use our link at establishedtitles.com/chat and take advantage of the insane holiday deals that they have going on right now. They have them up to like 80% right now. And if you go to our link, establishedtitles.com/chat, and use promo code chat, you're going to get an extra 10% off your order. So, I mean, if you want to be the gift-giving MVP this year and give yourself or someone that you love a really unforgettable gift, go ahead and go to establishedtitles.com/chat and use promo code chat to get 10% off. All right, now let's get into, should the Steelers extend Alex Highsmith? I think Alex Highsmith has been fantastic this year. You know, he's really been a bright spot. He was a bright spot when TJ Watt was out of the lineup. And now that TJ Watt's back in the lineup, they really form a formidable duo there on the outside. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith have been fantastic. Highsmith just won Defensive Player of the Week just 2 weeks ago. I mean, they don't have much depth at outside linebacker right now with Reed and Jones. They're not very good. But at the end of the day, Highsmith has been very productive this season, and the Steelers might want to look into giving him an extension. He only has 1 year left on his contract after this year. Highsmith will likely be asking for a large sum of money because his production has gone way up this season. So you better believe that his value right now is going up in the free agent market. So he's going to want to get paid accordingly. And then how much will his production come into play? How much? So the big question for me, guys, is how much of his production is coming because of TJ Watt? Now, I think that he was pretty productive with Watt out of the lineup. I think he's a good player, but having TJ Watt on the other side, drawing that much attention is just, I mean, it's got to help him a lot. And I think the Steelers, with how much they're already paying their defense, you're paying Fitzpatrick a lot of money. You're paying Watt a buttload of money. You're paying Hayward a lot of money. You know, I'm just not sure if I feel comfortable paying another edge rusher like a big sum of money. And I really think that they shouldn't do this, okay? I think maybe you trade him in the offseason if you get a good trade package. Maybe you get a second-round pick for him. I would probably take that. But at the end of the day, you could keep him, have him for another year. He's going to be a solid producer next to TJ Watt. But I think at the end of the day, guys, you can put a decent edge rusher on that other side, and he's going to have those one-on-one matchups, and he's going to do pretty good. We saw this with Bud Dupree. He was fantastic with the black and gold, and then he goes somewhere else where there's no TJ Watt, and he's nothing. So, I mean, could Alex Highsmith be the next Bud Dupree of the NFL? It's very possible. And then could someone be the next Alex Highsmith? We bring in a rookie. We draft somebody. Could someone else bring in that production? I certainly think so, and I think it would be smart for the Pittsburgh Steelers to either trade Alex Highsmith while his value is high or keep him and let him walk after next season. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should the Steelers extend Alex Highsmith? Type Y for yes or type N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break, just go down to the comments section, find that pinned comment, and put your answer to this question. All right, now let's get into my three keys for the rest of the season, the next steps for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now that the season seems lost, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a playoff run in the cards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's time to look towards the horizon. This is what I want the Steelers to focus on as we move into the last portion of the season here. Number one is preserve a winning culture. Tanking doesn't work in the NFL, guys. I've seen it happen a bunch of times. You see it kind of with the Colts right now, with the firing of Frank Reich and the hiring of Jeff Saturday. You kind of see it there too. But for the Steelers, tanking will not work because at the end of the day, the NFL is made up of people, human beings with emotions, and these people risk a lot to play this game, mentally, physically, emotionally. And at the end of the day, with all the work that they put in, they want it to mean something. They want to go out and win. It doesn't matter how bad their record is. These players don't care about the draft selection next year. They care about winning. So if the organization's like, nah, we're just going to lose and screw your bodies, screw your minds, all these things, all this work that you guys put in, we're just going to lose anyway. That's the quickest way to lose a locker room and lose the respect of the players in your locker room. And they're not going to play hard. They're not going to buy into what your organization is selling if you do that. So I don't love that. And to me, the focus should always be on winning, no matter what. Once you lose that element of your culture, if your culture starts becoming about losing football games, then I think it's really hard to get back to a focus on winning. So I think right now they need to keep that focus on winning football games. And even if they don't win football games right now, I think if you preserve that culture, it builds the foundation for the future so that the Steelers can win moving forward in future years. All right, number 2 on my list is you got to get Kenny Pickett right, guys. I mean, they need to get him right. Right now, you guys know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. I think he's still young. He's still a rookie, and he's showing a lot of rookie flaws right now. But he's also showing some good things. He's showing some good things outside of the pocket, playmaking-wise. I like his accuracy, at least when it comes to when he's in rhythm. I do like his accuracy, but the deep ball accuracy is not that great right now. I think KP, you need to get him prepared for next season. That's the rest of the season. Number 1 priority needs to be, outside of trying to win football games, is trying to get this guy some success, get him some growth, make him progress through all of his struggles right now, because there are quite a few struggles right now, and I want to see him grow out of those, rise above the adversity, and really blossom into a player that can become the franchise quarterback of this team moving forward. And finally, on my list, you got to figure out what William Jackson III is, guys. He's not going to be in for the next couple of weeks because he's on IR with a back injury that apparently he's had since he was in Washington. But he's going to be back for the last portion of the season, and you want to make sure, if you're Mike Tomlin, you want to find out if this guy is worth keeping for the future and whether you should spend high draft capital on getting another cornerback, because William Jackson III has the physical skill set to really thrive in this man-heavy scheme, press man-heavy scheme. He's played in Washington where it's been a lot of zone, so his numbers haven't been all that great. So William Jackson III is just a giant question mark, and I think one of the priorities for the Steelers should be to try to answer that question so that they can go into the offseason with a bit more clarity at the cornerback position. But at the end of the day, guys, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a good fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's going to be better than Ahkello Witherspoon and Levi Wallace and all these other guys that are just getting toasted week after week after week. And I think William Jackson, week 1 next season, is a starter next season. But let me know in the comments what you think of Will Jackson III. Will Jackson be a success in Pittsburgh? And I guess by success in Pittsburgh, I would say day 1 starter, week 1 starter next year, 2023 week 1 starter. So type S for success if you think he's going to be starting next year, or type B for bust if you think he's just going to be awful this year and they're going to get rid of him. All right, now let's go into the last portion of the video today, guys, which is what is the record going to look like for the Steelers moving forward? I mean, you look at the schedule, it's pretty soft for the rest of the way. Lots of beatable teams. I think they could win up to 6 games. 6 out of the last 7 are certainly winnable football games. But like I broke down yesterday in yesterday's post-game reaction video, even if they win out and go 10-7, they already lost to everybody in the AFC East. So the tiebreaker for the wild card is probably not in play. But for me, I think they're going to go 7-10. I think they're going to go 7-10 by season's end. That's a 4-3 record to finish out the year. I think Kenny Pickett is going to show some growth. I think he's going to earn that quarterback spot, that starting quarterback spot next season when we bring in a new offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be overall hopeful for the Pittsburgh Steelers towards the end of this year. Get some wins, preserve the winning culture. I think William Jackson III is going to show some good things when he gets back. I think overall it's going to be a positive conclusion to the 2022 season, even though it might not be the result that we were hoping for in week 1. All right, guys, let me know in the comment section right now, what do you think the Steelers' final record will be this season? Like I said before, I think we're going to go 7-10. I think that's a respectable a building block kind of record here for the Steelers. And I think that if we get to 7-10, I would be happy moving into 2023 and beyond with an expectation of success for the future. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Where are my real ones at? All right, if you are a real one and made it all the way through to the end of the video, type real one in all caps to let me know that you made it here. You are a real one for being here, guys. All right, fellas, that's going to do it for today's show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.